Hello and welcome. I'm Kriti Mehta and you're watching Deep Dive on NewsX World. Today we're diving into one of the most intense geopolitical standoffs of our time, the growing tension between Venezuela and the United States. With escalating military buildup, mounting pressure on Venezuela's government, and a series of high-stakes confrontations, the region's political landscape is shifting fast. So what's really going on? Stay tuned as we break it down for you. Now, on December 1, 2025, Nicolas Maduro made his first public appearance in several days, quelling rumors that he had fled as tension escalated with the US. In his remarks, Maduro praised Venezuela's indestructible and unbeatable economy. But behind these statements, the country is preparing for something much more serious. This comes as both the US President Donald Trump and the Venezuelan president held a phone call. Listen in.
The New York Times reported that you had a phone call with Maduro. Did you?
I don't want to comment on it. The answer is yes.
And can you tell us a little bit
No,
about
I can't do that.
Would you say it went well?
I would say it went well or badly. It was a phone call. Yeah.
The New York Times.
Trump has also given out statements of considering the Venezuelan airspace closed in its entirety. Meanwhile, the US has been ramping up its military presence near Venezuela, a move that has rattled the region. Since August 2025, the US has deployed the largest military presence in the Caribbean since the 1962 Cuban Missile Crisis. This includes the USS Gerald R. Ford, the Navy's most advanced aircraft carrier, and more than 15,000 personnel with F-35 jets and B-52 bombers conducting flyovers near Venezuelan airspace. Now, the Roosevelt Roads Naval Base in Puerto Rico has been reactivated by the US military as well after being closed for 20 years, according to reports from late 2025. Upgrades to runways and facilities have occurred, and the base is being used as part of a larger US military buildup in the Caribbean. While the official narrative from the United States government centers on countering drug trafficking, the reality is much murkier. Venezuela has long been accused of allowing drug cartels to operate from its borders. President Trump has linked the Venezuelan government to the cartel the Celos, accusing them of trafficking illegal drugs into the US. US military is conducting strikes on Venezuelan vessels constantly, terming it as a fight against narco-terrorism. So far, the strikes have killed at least 80 narco-terrorists. In response, Maduro is not backing down. He has mobilized over 200,000 troops and an additional 4 million militia members. The Venezuelan government is preparing for possible military confrontation. Now, in a statement to the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, Maduro urged his allies in the oil-producing world to help counter this growing aggression from the United States. But while Maduro talks about Venezuela's sovereignty, there's another layer to the situation that's just as important: the history of US-led interventions in Latin America. The idea of US involvement in Latin America is not new. Over the past century, the United States has engineered, supported, and outright carried out several coups aimed at either counterfeiting or the leftist movements, or ensuring its economic interests in the region. From reports of the CIA-engineered coup in Guatemala in 1954 to the military dictatorship imposed in Chile in 1973, US involvement in Latin American politics has been deeply controversial. And the question now remains, will the US use military force to unseat Maduro? Or is this all a pressure campaign designed to bring Venezuela to the negotiating table? Joining us on this discussion is now our special guest, Ambassador R. Vishwanathan, the former ambassador to Venezuela. Thank you for joining us, sir. I want to ask you my first question in this regard. Given the current military build-up by the US, how do you see the situation evolving? Could this escalate into a direct military confrontation?
Let me give you a background. This is not the first time that America had tried to destabilize Venezuela. In 2002, they supported a coup against President Chavez. It failed. Then in 2018, when Maduro got elected, they did not recognize him as president, and they picked up the president of assembly and said he is the real legitimate president, and had the whole drama and had the support of about 50 Western countries saying that Juan Guaido was the president, not Maduro. That guy stole money along with the American lawyers. They took the money of the Venezuelan government in American banks and disappeared. It was a failure. So this is the third attempt. Now, why are the Americans doing it? Because of two things. One, they like the Venezuelan oil. Second, they dislike the leftist government. Now, Venezuela used to produce and export something like over 3 million barrels per day to United States. 90% of their oil exports went to United States. But when the leftist president Chavez came to power, he said, no, we should reduce this over-dependence, and he started diversifying. He started supplying to India, China, and so on. So this is the problem. The Americans want to have access to the Venezuelan oil. Now what they are trying to do is trying to destabilize, create problem, maybe bomb the presidential palace and a few places. And they might do a repeat of what they did in Iraq and Libya and take over the oil fields in Venezuela. That is the game which is being played by United States.
All right, so I also now want to ask you about Maduro's mobilization of over 200,000 troops and a militia of 4 million. How well equipped do you think is Venezuela to handle such an escalation?
Oh, not at all equipped. If the Americans want, they can destroy the presidential palace, they can destroy Venezuela, and Venezuela is no match. And also Venezuela does not have the support of their usual allies like Brazil or Colombia, because President Maduro has antagonized these people. And nor will China or Russia go to the rescue of President Maduro. But the thing is, you see, the Americans have been creating this fake news as though Venezuela is ruled by a one-man dictatorship of Maduro. No, it's not a one-man dictatorship like Chavez or Noriega. Now, it is a collective leadership. There are thousands of leftist leaders, president, vice president, and ministers, military chiefs. Now, they would all be killed and they would all be hanged. So, they would have a collective defense. Removal of Maduro is not going to put that lady Machado into the office. Not at all. They have to kill thousands of the Chavista leaders if they have to change the government. Removal of Maduro alone will not solve the problem. Secondly, Venezuela has, the President Maduro has rigged the election, sure, the last elections and the earlier one in 2018. The reason why he did that was because if he had lost the elections, then the pro-American leaders like Machado would come and they would hand over hundreds of these leftist leaders to America to go to prison. That's what happened in some other Latin American countries. Like the last president of Honduras, the Americans did business with him for 2 terms, 8 years. Then after he left power, then they picked him up and said, oh, he was involved in drugs, and they put him for a life term in America, someone called Juan Fernandez. So the Venezuelan leadership means not just Maduro, hundreds of top leaders in the armed forces, intelligence, judiciary, constitutional assembly, and the government officials, they are afraid that if they hold a free and fair election and lose power, then they will all end up dead or in American jail. So United States is the obstacle for free and fair elections in Venezuela and for the democracy of Venezuela. If the Americans don't intervene, they will sort it out directly. After all, you had military dictatorship in Brazil, Venezuela, Chile, Argentina. The Americans did not go and liberate the people and make them democracies. On the contrary, the Americans were supporting the military dictatorships against democracy. So the Venezuelans have to sort it out constitutionally, electorally by themselves. But they are not being allowed to do so by the United States. And this lady who won the Nobel Prize, she is openly seeking the intervention of United States. And this is just, that's what the oligarchs in other countries have done. They, when they find a leftist government, they all run to Uncle Sam.
Okay. And given that Venezuela has been accused of facilitating drug trafficking, which the US has used as justification for its military actions, how significant do you think is Venezuela's role in curbing global drug trafficking? And
nonsense is just making a fool of the whole world. President Maduro does not go and put drugs in the mouth of the Americans. Drugs is a consumer-driven business. It's a demand-driven business. Americans are willing to pay happily hundreds of billions of dollars to get drugs from wherever they can get and enjoy and have happiness. Okay? So it is a American demand-driven, consumer-driven business. So you don't blame the other people. Now, secondly, it is the drugs go from Mexico, from other places, but Venezuela has the least role in this. And so Venezuela cannot, so if they want to go after, they should go after Mexico or Colombia. But Venezuela has the least role in this drug trafficking. So that is fake news, that is wrong, that is false accusation.
all right, for now, thank you, Ambassador Vishwanathan, for joining us here at News World and joining us here. With that, viewers, it's a wrap on this episode of Deep Dive. But do stay tuned as news and updates continue right after this short break.